Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estela.
And welcome to
Cafecito.
And Crime. Hola, everybody.
Is that better?
That was better. We redid the intro because
Barbie said her buenos dias was not buenos dias.
it wasn't vibing. It just wasn't vibing. I don't know what's going on. So I hope that everyone's having a great day. We are pretty much in winter right now here in Houston. It's 79 outside.
Is it still 79?
I don't know, but that's the shit, first of all. And everybody probably around us are like, guys.
No, it's 76, bro.
Holy shit, man.
Y está nublado and it's going to rain.
No, me voy a poner la chamarra.
Yeah.
Las sueritas are coming out.
High 87, though. Pero
hey, leave me alone.
I'm just saying. But it's cloudy, so it shouldn't feel too hot.
So welcome to our weekly late episode.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry about that. Life has been living. We have
Lifing.
What the fuck did I just say?
Life.
Sorry. I just took one sip. Hold on, give me a minute. I need to take another sip because it's not working. Ya aprendió? ASMR.
Yeah.
But life has been being life. So I have been looking for a new job, and gracias a Dios, I got one yesterday. So I'm really excited about that.
Yes.
And also, claps. This is a big deal for me. It's been crazy.
Everything that you could possibly want in a job, you got this job.
Yeah. So I'm super excited to start on that. So that's a whole new chapter in my life, and
then I think it would also start helping you as far as research for your cases. It's
definitely
just gonna be way better.
It's way closer to my home. Wink, wink. And I literally am able there's been times where I am driving back and forth and I'm spending an hour in traffic or whatever it is. Because as we know, this place is huge. So that I'm in the middle of trying to finish my case, and then I have to focus. It's crazy.
And then you have stuff going on with the kids. I'm sure people know it's a lot.
I do struggle a lot. And then not only that, I struggle with keeping up with everything at home and that. So I think that this job is going to be perfect. So it's kind of a good mixture of being able to work and also be more present for my home and for the podcast and for everything.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. And then I also found out that my little niece, she's not little. I call her little because when we first started our podcast, my cousin and I met up. Well, we had already been on for a little bit. My cousin, Denise, and she's in Dallas or area. And so she came over to my sister's house. As y'all know, I'm from over there. So then when she was there, I told them about my podcast. And they were like, oh, really cool, whatever. So then after a while, they actually started following us. And my little niece has been really supportive. She's not little, but, to me, she's little. Whenever Denise moved to Dallas. She moved in next to we lived in apartments, and I lived with my grandma. Mm-hmm. And so then she moved into the apartment next door. So my grandma would take care of
her,
of Melanie, and that's her name, Melanie. And so then she would basically I grew up with Melanie. So I would make sure she was showered and all that good stuff. So for me being
so she's really not little.
She's not little because of what she's having a baby. And I'm so super excited because of the fact that I know that it's different when you start seeing people grow up and stuff, but then you're like, oh, I'm old. You're having babies? Really?
Oh, you're having babies now. Como que...
So you want a whole life and grow up and stuff? You're not a baby anymore?
And then
Yeah. And I really did. I was with my cousin when she took her first year pictures and stuff it's
from your, literally, she grew up before your eyes.
Before my eyes. Mm-hmm. So I am so happy, and they've been so supportive of our podcast. So I'm so excited to meet the baby, and he's going to be a little boy. So that's even more exciting. And I really want for them to know that I'm really happy, and congratulations to them and to I think my sister said my cousin doesn't want him to call her grandma. So
Gigi?
Mima? I don't know.
No way, says it sounds the same.
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out. I don't know.
Send her some suggestions.
Grandma? I don't know.
It still has a ma in there.
My kids call my mother la ma. Just ma.
Yeah, but mom doesn't care if they call her grandma.
No.
Abuela.
So I don't know. I wonder what's an alternative? ¿Qué es lo que se diría? What?
Gigi?
Abuelita? That'd be messed up. Never mind. I'm just kidding. No. I'm just kidding. So this episode today, we're going to leave my life out of this today. So we're going to be, Estela's bringing it for us. So what do we got, sister?
So for today's case, we are going to Maryland.
Have we been to Maryland?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, if everybody or anybody in all the world that's listening, because I know everybody in the world is listening right now, would like to grab your cafecitos. Oh, excuse me. If you would like to go to Maryland with us, grab your cafecitos.
And let's get started.
I have my cafecito.
I have mine too. So we're actually going to Elk Ridge, Maryland.
Elk Ridge.
Elk Ridge.
I'm not being dumb. I promise you. So Elk Ridge is like in
Maryland.
I know, wait, pero is it like in the northern
I don't
part?
know.
Oh, okay.
Does it matter?
No, I don't know. I just
okay.
thought it was interesting.
I don't know. The fun, random, interesting fact about Elk Ridge is that it is home.
Are you about to sing a song or what the fuck was that?
I don't know. I don't know where that came from. Hold on. Maybe I need more coffee.
I'm telling you, we're half asleep. It's really early.
No, it's not.
I mean, to me, it's early shit. I want to go back to bed.
It is home to the Thomas Viaduct.
¿Qué es eso?
The world's largest multiple arched stone railroad bridge with an arc.
That is crazy. Okay, so...
It was designed in 1831 with construction beginning in 1832 and
Not 18.
and concluding in 1835. It spans 612 feet, and actually, funny enough, it was tested out like after it was completed on the 4th of July.
Cool.
With 2 trains successfully crossing the bridge. Y no se cayó.
Gracias a Dios.
Gracias a Dios, yeah.
Gracias a Dios.
Since its construction, according to, I know I'm going to butcher this name, patapsco.org, I think that's how you say that, sorry. Quote, every type of locomotive in rail history has traversed the viaduct, from the original 6-ton steam engines to today's 300-ton behemoths, end quote.
The behemoths.
All the trains have been.
That's
all the trains have been on the Thomas.
And they're behemoths.
Yeah.
Like Thomas the Train, bro.
No, I thought I was like, a lo mejor por eso Thomas the Train
Se llama
Thomas the Train, but it's not. I think if I'm not mistaken, Thomas the Train originated in like Germany or some shit.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's that. But also another.
You have 2?
Son dos,
yes.
güey.
No mames.
I have another one is that Elk Ridge is the oldest settlement in Howard County, Elk Ridge is in Howard County in Maryland, which began its earliest colonial times in Elk Ridge as far as 1687. Take that.
Interesting.
That's your history lesson for today.
Today, yeah. I think I'm like, whole GPA smarter. A whole point of my GPA smarter for that.
I have dos neuronas.
Neuronas.
Instead of just one
ya
neurona.
No tengo mitad, tengo dos.
Toda completa.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get right into the case. So we'll begin with Sarah Jane Williamson, who was born on June 20th of 1963 to parents Archie Bob and Sarah Doris.
Not Archie Bob.
And Sarah Doris. Isn't that
That's
so
the cutest
cute?
thing ever. I love it. I have a baby, le vamos a poner Archie Bob.
Archie Bob. Or una hija y se llama Sarah Doris.
Sarah Doris. Dude, they even flow together. That's the cutest thing ever.
So cute. I know. I thought
le
that
vamos
she was
a
like...
decir a Melanie que le ponga Archie Bob.
So since her dad was a sergeant in the Air Force, she was born in the Patrick Air Force Base in Florida. So the family eventually moved to Albuquerque when she was 6 or 7, and it's where she grew up. She went to high school and graduated Highland High School in 1980 and attended the New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology.
That's crazy.
Afterward. Yeah.
My grandpa was a miner back in the like 20s and shit. He was a miner.
Your grandpa?
Yeah, my grandpa. He would say, I don't know if it's true, but I believed him. Like a miner in Mexico?
Yeah,
He would go mine.
but I'm thinking, I'm like, wouldn't that be your great grandpa?
No, but my grandpa. He said.
How old was your grandpa?
I don't know. He was from 34.
So how was he a miner in the 20s?
Oh, maybe not in the 20s. Maybe in the...
Maybe his dad?
No, he said he was. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know much because he would lie a lot. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
My grandpa too on my mom's side, as we know. So she 4 years later, she graduated with a bachelor's degree in math and a minor in English. And math was her shit. Like
Can't
genius
relate.
level. Like me either, bitch. Like I still use my fingers to count. She was, that was The bitch was a mathematician, pues, para decirte, pues, like.
Qué padre.
Yeah. After receiving her bachelor's degree, she began pursuing her master's in statistics. Bitch. I remember when I took statistics in school and in college.
I never got that far.
It was like, oh my God, what the fuck?
And she mastered it. She was like...
Yeah, that's what she was majoring in.
That's crazy.
I know. But for some reason, she actually ended up putting a pause to those plans and took a job in the military at White Sands Missile Base.
Let's take a quick break. Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser, taser, taser! He's gonna shoot!
Oi! Shot fired! Shots fired, shots fired.
Stay out, you gotta go on you!
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
What? But I guess numbers and like...
Yeah, well, yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then she did get married to a man who she actually met when she was at the New Mexico Institute. And eventually the couple moved to Maryland, where she took a job with the NSA, the National Security Agency, bitch.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
She's a bad
She was
bitch.
brilliant. She was, wow, like amazing. Amazeballs. So while her professional life...
Es que, pues, you know why she's amazing and she's really smart? Porque oyó our fun facts.
Yeah.
And that's why.
And then con unos parents como Archie Bob and Sara Raras. I mean, and your dad was in the Air Force. Like, I wonder if that had anything to do with it.
Of course. Yeah. I think that a lot of the kids that are in the, or not kids, but they see their parents grow up in the
and then
military.
especially she was just so good at math. Like,
I mean,
brilliant.
Math is everything.
Literally
Numbers
everything.
are literally everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
They're,
you could go with any, do anything.
you know what that reminds me of?
Good.
Like, quick side, it just, when they say like math is everything, or it's in Mean Girls, cuando Damien le pregunta a Katie, like, why math? And she's like, because it's the same in every language. And then he's like, that's deep. I think,
hey, that's deep.
That's deep.
That's deep. Yeah.
So, while her professional life had taken off and had been taking off, I guess, as far as like her jobs went for a while, her personal life had, gone down a little bit. She and her husband divorced just 3 years later after moving to Maryland.
Oh.
So after her divorce in the late 1980s, she decided to pursue her master's degree again.
Girl.
Which she had, paused a little bit earlier on, and attended Johns Hopkins University, where she studied statistics. And it would be there that Sara would meet her second husband, Lorenzo Domingo Raras, in 1991.
Raras con R o Juárez?
No, Raras. Raras.
Rares.
Raras.
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 So why you say Raras?
Raras, because that's how they were saying it when I was watching like clips of them. And he's from the Philippines.
I was about to say, the Philippines, that's cool.
Lorenzo Domingo.
Bro, he has like these people and these names in the story, dude. Like, can you imagine?
Domingo.
Okay, Melanie, maybe think about Lorenzo Domingo. That's great.
Raras.
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 Raras. In 1991 lo conoció, pues. So, Lorenzo was born to Antonio and Emilia Domingo Raras in Manila, Philippines. And he attended the university in Manila and immigrated to the U.S. at the age of 18 to attend the University of Baltimore and completed his education there.
So he was also educated?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So after he graduated, like Sara, he pursued his master's degree in business administration and finance at Johns Hopkins. So Sara and Lorenzo married 3 years after they began dating in 1994.
Yes, girl, make them wait. No, luego.
She was like,
you can't have the goodies luego.
No, and then she was like, I need to finish my studies now for real.
That's amazing. Not only that, pero ya se había casado una vez. Es mucho, ya. Girl, make them wait. Yeah. Así debe ser.
Sorry, I just clicked iTunes to open. Girl.
We're about to sync? With your home.
And being married and having a family and having a home and like the whole white picket fence is what Sara really wanted. Like that was something she aspired to have for herself. So since she had previously been married, which ended up in divorce, she wasn't going to let that stop her from achieving it. So like you said, she finished her degree, dated, y luego se casó, and, to have what it was that she wanted. Now married and also having a great stable job, she was thriving in what seemed like all aspects of her life. She was someone who was described as a people person. Can't relate.
Okay.
Very social, lovable, wanted other people to be happy, she was happy. And if she could have a hand in helping somebody else be happy,
That
she
right
would
there, then line that you just said, that is my strive in life, to be happy and to give everybody to become happy. That is my spire. Because when you're happy, you feel like I want everyone to be happy. That's amazing. So besides the fact that she's already a bad bitch, but
at work she was well respected, had a great reputation. She was friends with everyone, and it was at the NSA that she met one of her best friends, Laura Billiter. I think that's how you say her last name. Sorry, Laura, because you don't have a cool name. Billiter. Now, 3 years later, after marrying Lorenzo, she gave birth to their son. And that was supposed to be, I guess what everybody would assume is a joyous time in their lives that brings them together. But it would actually end up having the opposite outcome.
Oh, wow.
The birth of their son ended up putting a strain on the relationship, and it would be reported that Lorenzo became jealous of his son.
What?
And the attention que Sara le daba al niño, that he felt like he was no longer receiving that attention from her.
Y lo más triste es que sucede
a lot. Yeah.
A lot. Todos los días.
And things just took a nosedive over the next year. Lorenzo didn't help her at all with the baby. And while she had friends in Maryland, her familial support was in Alabama. So, they were in another state. So she was going through a very tough time.
Yo me voy para Alabama because, Alabama's in the South.
So to kind of, I guess, help I just hit the mic. So to kind of help the situation, Sara turned to her mother-in-law, Emilia. And even while she was pregnant, her mother-in-law was, around a lot, trying to give her advice and stuff like that. So Emilia didn't live far, and she liked her mother-in-law and respected her. So Sara hoped that Emilia could help up with the baby while she, did all the things that she needed to do. She had a job, she had a home, she had a husband. She was trying to juggle everything and dealing with the struggling relationship with her husband. So también she thought that maybe having his mom around would make him chill out a bit or calm him down. And, maybe they could, spend some time together and work on their issues. However, Emilia being around and helping out eventually made things worse for the relationship.
That sometimes happens. Sí, porque a veces la suegra, they think they know more than you. I don't have that problem because my suegra is, she knows more than me. She knows more than me, and I respect her for that. And I can't say the best things about her. But there's some people that happens really often. Oh, yeah. Because the suegras are like, no, pues es because you can never be the way that I want you to be for my son. And it's like, bro, I'm trying to make a family with them, también.
Well, ya tuvo el niño.
Ya, o sea, ya está grande el hombre, tiene pelos, ya déjalo en paz. Like, what the hell?
So Sara believed that Emilia started to become more too involved with their son, with the little baby, in the way that he was being raised, and thought that she should have an input,
And I was about to say that también como the cultures are different,
right?
And so, and I'm saying that because I am a minority as well. So then for me, it's like, whenever my suegra would tell me to do something with my baby, I'm like, what are you talking about? That but I would do it, pero at that moment you're like,
that's
this is how we used to do it,
back in the
así se hacía antes y así lo haces. And now with her, she's probably having a hard time with that. I could see that. And it's her first baby. Su mamá de ella no está.
Yeah.
Está allá en Alabama.
Sara Raras.
Y ¿cómo se llama el señor?
Archie Bob.
And Archie Bob. You need to be with Sara Raras and Archie Bob.
Yeah.
You need to.
Then Sara did not find that appropriate for her child. If you want to, you can raise your child as you see fit. It's your child. And she felt that responsibility should fall on Lorenzo, not his mom. But since Lorenzo wasn't making an effort, it seemed that Emilia kind of relieved
over.
him.
Took over.
Of that responsibility and took it upon herself. Now, over the next years, things really deteriorated between the two to the point of no return. And the couple separated in 1998. And Sara filed for divorce from Lorenzo that summer. So él se fue. Él se fue de la casa, se fue a vivir con sus parents, and ella se quedó in the home with her son in Elkridge, Howard County, Maryland, which was an affluent suburb. So on November 15th, which was a Sunday, at around 7:44, Sara's friend Laura called the police after she hadn't heard from her friend throughout the whole day, which was very unusual because they're very close. Y Sara le contaba a Laura,
todo lo que estaba pasando.
Yeah, so she knew that there were issues between her and her estranged husband by this point. So she was so worried que le habló a la policía if they could go do a welfare check on Sara.
That's a good friend. We need to get friends like that.
She let them know where she lived, and she also informed them that, she lived with her son only, but that the baby was with his dad that weekend.
So she knew that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. She knew No,
porque pues eran friends,
the logistics,
Te estoy diciendo que we need friends like those.
Like Laura.
Yeah, Laura, you know what?
So the police made their way to Sara's home and knocked on the front door, but received no answer. And they walked the perimeter, if I'm not mistaken, and then they quickly knew that they had to make their way into the front door. So they kicked it down. And they were looking around and they couldn't find Sara, but they wouldn't have to look very far because they found her body in the back family room, and she was deceased. She was dead.
God.
Now, from an initial inspection of Sara's body, it looked like she had been stabbed to death, pretty much. Essentially, like her body had been mutilated. There was blood everywhere, on the furniture, on the walls, en los juguetes del niño. She had deep, it was very apparent. She had big gashes on her neck, and her throat. And later they do go on to say that she was almost decapitated.
Oh, shit.
And the same to her wrists.
That's weird.
She also had stab wounds to her stomach.
Because if you're gonna stab somebody, I'm not trying to be, but in my mind, it's already working.
I'm not trying to give anybody ideas.
I'm not trying to give anybody ideas. I'm not trying to stab anybody.
My thoughts.
My thoughts. So if you're killing somebody, are you gonna hold their wrist down if they're fighting you to slash to her wrist?
No, they probably did it afterward, after she had already been dead.
Okay. Because I'm in my mind, the first thing that when you said that, I'm like, what?
No, she also had stab wounds to her stomach, so maybe
So it was postmortem, probably.
Probably.
Okay.
And it was an overkill because why do you have to do all that?
Why? I don't know.
It was algo que un animal hace.
Wow.
Not
pues
like
sí,
a
es
natural.
un animal.
Pues sí,
es un animal.
Yeah.
Whoever did that is un animal.
Yeah. Later, the autopsy revealed that she bled out 80% of her blood volume.
Holy shit.
Which was the cause of death, Yeah, she bled to death. Yeah. So based on the fact that the blood was mostly dry, it appeared that she had been dead for about 24 hours.
That was my next question. Was everything already
Because this was, remember, Sunday. Y Laura, when she called the police, les dijo que she hadn't heard from Sara the whole Sunday. Todo el día. So,
Maybe it was 24 hours. Okay.
So upon further inspection of the scene, investigators noted that there was forced entry into the home. There was a shattered window. I'm going to show a picture, Barbie, and we'll also post it. Straight up just breaking into.
The fuck? Okay. So there's some furniture y luego está, es como la entrada del, the patio, right? Is that what it is?
It's a window.
No, it looks like it's the patio door.
Yeah.
So then, ya ves que tiene, y tiene
the
como, the sliding door,
Yeah.
y está tirada la, okay. Yeah. They took the whole, como que, even
They broke
the siding or whatever
Yeah.
that is. Okay. So they were forced in there.
There were bloody footprints in the home, which led investigators to determine that the killer made his way or her way inside the home through that broken, entrance. 'Cause
Okay.
The footsteps led from Sara's body out that way.
So that's how they got out.
Yeah.
Technically. Okay.
And obviously because it was shattered, that's how they got
sí.
in.
Obviamente.
Now, they at first thought that they were dealing with a robbery gone wrong because the place was a fucking mess. It had been ransacked. There were things all over the place. Drawers had been like pulled and rifled through, and some items seemed to be missing, like a VCR.
Girl, those VCRs, they were going high back then, girl. Don't play.
Y también se llevaron el teléfono. You know how people used to have their phones attached to the wall?
We had a phone.
Yeah, like that. So eso también was missing.
Just a random ass phone, though?
And some other like items here and there. But the robbery theory went out the window when they saw that Sarah's laptop was still like there, y su bolsa, and they were like visible. You know, like if they...
Yeah, so se hubiera querido llevar algo.
Right.
Okay. So maybe whoever did this was trying to make it look like it because como, like, bro, and you're not even that fucking smart.
Yeah.
Like, you took the fucking phone off the wall.
And a VCR.
And a
The VCR I get, right?
Yeah, the VCR, no, porque
yeah.
estaban caros.
Yeah.
Estaban caros.
So whoever killed Sarah just staged the scene to make it look like a robbery,
Yeah.
like you just said. Now, due to the brutality of the murder, investigators hope that someone may have heard like her neighbors.
Yeah, screams or something.
Yeah, but or something being like shattered, you know. But when they spoke to her neighbors, nobody had heard anything.
That's crazy.
Which was crazy to think about. I mean, thankfully CSI had better luck inside the home as far as evidence that was
CSI was
left behind. Yeah. They were able to recover bloody fingerprints that were left behind on the wall where her body was found, and they were able to tell by those prints at least that the person had been wearing gloves.
Oh, okay. So
They were also able to find other fingerprints, but these specifically, that person was wearing gloves. Investigators soon go and speak to Laura, you know, because she had called, and they notify her of what happened, and she was, of course, in disbelief, but she was able to give the police valuable information. She handed over a voice, you know, cuando you used to have like a voice machine and people would call and leave you a message on the voice machine?
Sí, con unos casetitos.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember those. Estaban chiquititos.
Yeah. So she handed over a voice recording that she had received from Sarah from the night before, so on Saturday at around 8:46 p.m. So the recording was of what sounded like a struggle, muffled sounds, and what sounded
Como que estaba hablando, como que estaba intentando hablarle a alguien y se desconectó o sea, y dejó el teléfono desconectado. Okay.
Yeah, and some screams, and it lasted about 30-something or 40 seconds. Now, obviously, they were quickly able to put together that was her being murdered or killed. Mm-hmm. So it gave them a timeline.
Yeah. I was about to say that's around the time she was,
So something else that Laura gave investigators was their first lead. She pointed them in the direction of Lorenzo, Sarah's estranged husband. She informed them that they were going through a nasty divorce and a custody battle. And when they looked into like Sarah and Lorenzo's history, they found that the police had previously been called to their home for a disturbance between the couple. There was also another instance where things did turn physical.
Oh, shit.
And according to Laura, on one occasion, Sarah and Lorenzo got into a fight or an argument, and that que le trató de pegar while she was holding the baby, and that she ended up like turning and al último le alcanzó a dar su espalda, and he kicked her in the back.
Bro, I'm going to tell you something. If you're going to beat me up, at least do it without me holding my child so I can hit you back, bitch.
Yeah.
You're not going to just have me hold my child. I'm not going to be able to hit you back.
Yeah. We don't condone domestic violence.
At all. You know, pero a lo mejor ella la agarró descuidada because he had never been like actual physical with her, you know?
So Sarah called Laura, and together they went to file the restraining order against Lorenzo.
Yeah.
And it was granted, and he wasn't allowed back in the home or anywhere near her. So he got pissed off.
Yeah, think.
And Sarah le tenía miedo.
Pobrecita.
Now, investigators managed to locate Lorenzo at his parents' home, where I think I said he was living at.
Pues sí, porque ¿para dónde más le va a dar el güey? ¿Quién lo va a aguantar?
They informed him of Sarah's death, and he immediately fell to his knees and cried out.
That's too much.
Strangely, it was reported también that after he managed to que se paró, there were no actual signs that he had been crying.
That's too much. He did too much.
In his initial interview, Lorenzo denied having to do anything with Sarah's murder and stated that the last time he had seen her was on Friday morning, cuando él fue a recoger al niño, take him for the weekend. Y que ese Saturday, the day that she was murdered, he was at the family home. But to investigators, there was something like off-putting about him. While he was answering their questions, obviously he didn't show any type of emotion. Pero también como que he was very arrogant and smug.
He did something.
And especially in the way that he offered up his own theory of what could have happened to Sarah.
Stop. No, he did not.
Yes.
Tell me he did not fucking do that.
Lorenzo told investigators that Sarah was having an affair with an old coworker and that's why she had gotten killed, essentially.
Lorenzo, you know what?
Kick rocks.
Kick balls
Cactus.
of shit. That's what you need to kick.
So after having secured a warrant, investigators were able to collect Lorenzo's DNA in that moment to match it to hopefully the one at the crime scene. They were also able to seize his vehicle and search the family home and speak to his family members.
So what I've learned from cases like this is that sometimes a killer, cuando está cortando the body or when they're trying to kill somebody in the struggle, a veces se cortan,
Yes.
right? So they could have some, is that the reason why they were collecting DNA to see if there was some DNA in the...
No, they just thought that maybe whatever was left at the scene, they needed his DNA to match it against.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so pero that's what I mean. Like they were looking for like blood or maybe maybe he would have cut himself or something and there was DNA or prints or something. Is that what
Well, they found prints. Remember I told you they found other fingerprints at the scene. Yeah. After the samples were collected, I mean, he was able to go because they didn't have anything. Investigators, también, they followed and went to the Raras home in Parkville, which was like 30 minutes away. Since Lorenzo claimed that that's where he had spent Saturday night, it needed to be corroborated. So su mamá Emilia stated that she wasn't there that night, that she was at the nursing home where she worked. But she did tell them that Lorenzo's younger brother was there in the home, Michael. And I think he went by Mike. So I think I might be saying Mike here or Michael. I don't remember how I wrote it. So that's who I'm talking about.
Mike.
When investigators spoke to Mike, he was very cooperative. No era así nada de arrogante like his brother. Mike stated that he was in that home that night. Pero he worked night shifts. So he said that obviously dormía before his night shift. And he said que when he woke up to go to work, que ahí estaba Lorenzo.
Well, he was being honest. I mean, no lo vio porque estaba dormido, pero cuando lo vio...
He was like, I woke up and he was there, So actually, visiting the Raras home didn't turn up any type of leads or clues. Nothing came out of searching the home and nothing came out of searching Lorenzo's vehicle either. Afterward, Lorenzo made sure that the police weren't going to be able to reach him.
Not the police.
Yeah. Reach him so easily without talking to his lawyer.
Okay.
So he got a lawyer.
He got a lawyer.
Yeah.
Because what happens whenever you're guilty? You get a lawyer.
No, even when you're not guilty, you need to get a lawyer.
But you know what I mean. That's the first thing that they always say. He lawyered up.
Yeah. Now, with no easy access to Lorenzo or they didn't have any clues, investigators followed up on Lorenzo's quote-unquote theory.
Boyfriend.
Of Sarah having an affair with her coworker. So that coworker's name was Don Lewis. And he was previously Sarah's supervisor, but has since retired from the NSA. And he was living in Massachusetts.
So it was a long distance relationship?
No, I'm about to get there.
Oh, I was about to say.
Initially, Don told investigators that he wasn't surprised by Lorenzo's accusations since he himself had previously received an email from Lorenzo accusing him of having an affair with his wife, Sarah. But Don denied it. He said that the relationship...
Lorenzo, you are not...
An idiot.
Yeah.
He stated that their relationship was strictly professional. It was more like he was her mentor. And other co-workers literally corroborated the same. They're like, no, they were just... He was like her dad.
Dude, that kills me. Why can't men understand that a woman can't have a man friend or a man person that they can work? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And it happens every day.
Yeah.
The men are like, ay, no, que andas con el viejo de la... Dude, I go to work. Like, yo lo que quiero es venirme a la casa. ¿Tú crees que voy a andar queriendo tener amores con alguien allá en el trabajo?
People are like that.
Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But but sometimes...
Yeah.
like
not.
her, like
It's
her
not.
right there.
Yeah.
He was probably old. Like if he retired, like
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was more like if they were like, it was like a father-daughter relationship. He was her mentor, you know, like
yeah. Could she have talked to her about talked to him
about work,
or whatever, or maybe even like ask him for advice on work? Pero dude, like it's not always that way.
And at the time of her murder, Dawn, you know, he had to say where he was, and he was at a dinner party in Massachusetts, which was like 100 miles away from, you know, Sarah's home. So all leads that they thought they had or pursued ended up being like a dead end, right? And that also included some of the other fingerprints that were found inside the home. After they were sent out for testing, they actually came back with like no results. They didn't yield any type of results. But investigators were holding up hope for the other prints, the ones that were like the gloved, like the DNA of the blood. Now, suspicion still hung over Lorenzo, as they believed that he might have had something to do with Sarah's murder. And it wasn't helping the case when he and his whole family didn't show up for her funeral.
No mames.
Yeah.
Qué groseros.
So with no other avenue to go down, investigators go back to the message that was left on Laura's machine.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to mention a little bit earlier, but they believe that what Sarah was trying to do is call 911, but she ended up dialing the speed dial for Laura, which might have been a 9 or like a 1. So por eso Laura received that message, not because Sarah was actually trying to call her, you know?
I can see that happening. Yeah.
They listen to the recording again and again, but they don't hear anything that stands out. Other detectives también, they were like, hey, can y'all come listen to this to kind of get like a fresh pair of ears? A ver si alguien más escuchaba algo diferente. And after other investigators and detectives came to listen, some of them came to us like the same conclusion. And it was that Sarah says, it sounded like Sarah was saying the name Mike in the recording.
Really?
Which, you know, was yeah.
Pero como, o sea, ¿tú sabes lo que decía el recording o no sabes?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Now, Mike, of course, is brought in and, you know, le enseñan el mensaje. And he says that he didn't hear it. He's like, I don't hear what you guys are saying. She's not saying my name.
Did they check to see that he went to work that day? That he said, okay.
Denies having to do anything with her murder and sticks to the original story that he told investigators, that he was sleeping. And, you know, when he woke up, he, you know, went to work, you know, and Lorenzo was there. Like they did with his brother. With the search warrant, they took his DNA, the whole thing. They took his blood, his hair, fingerprints, photographs, toda la enchilada, pues. And after speaking to him, investigators, they were like, okay, maybe it's not him. Like, it doesn't look like it's him. They didn't think that he had anything to do with Sarah's murder, but they did think that he knew.
He knew something.
He knew something about Sarah's murder. So they were, I guess, no sé si lo recogieron, and then they were dropping him off at work. So when he exited the vehicle, investigators, the exact same thing, they told him. They were like, hey, we don't think that you did it, but we think that you know.
And you don't want to tell us.
And you don't want to say nothing. So le dieron la tarjeta de los, you know, with their contact info, and, you know, they told them to
call him and say, si tenían algún,
like
se acordaba de algo.
Se acordaba de algo. Y luego, pues, Mike así salió bien pensativo del carro. And then as he was, like, walking on the parking lot, like, he just threw up. Like, you have a guilty stomach, sir? You know, quién sabe.
Quién sabe. Bien, Mari.
So, Mike, obviously he was seen as now, I guess, the weakest link to kind of...
So they're like, okay, we need to pressure him.
Yeah, we need to nudge him,
okay.
right? Mm-hmm. But when they tried to contact him again, it was a no-go because I don't know how, but Lorenzo's lawyer got involved. Oh. And they were like, no, stop it.
Stop it right now.
Yeah. Now, after about a month of no movement in the case, investigators decided to reach out to someone who could shed a little bit more light into Lorenzo. And that someone was Becky Raras, who was Lorenzo's first wife. Who still lived in the area, actually.
You know what? You always want to talk to the ex-wife, bro.
Yeah.
You always want to do that.
She still lived in the area. And they contacted her and, they brought her up to speed and they told her what happened with Sara, and she agreed to help them in any way that she could. Since she was still friendly with Lorenzo, they came up with the plan that she was going to call him so they could like chat or have like a phone conversation, and they were going to record it. So ella le habla. And then she tries to steer the conversation in that direction. And he does speak about it, pero he doesn't say anything incriminating. And just like that, I mean, that went to shit, It didn't.
Back to zero.
Yeah, back to zero. But some good news, we're not very far behind.
Mm-hmm.
Not long after the call between Becky and Lorenzo, the results of the bloody fingerprints came back, and they showed that the blood was a mixture of Sara's and an unknown male. So whoever this person was, their DNA being found at the crime scene
was not in CODIS or anything.
So whoever this person was, now that their DNA was found at the crime scene and it was mixed with Sara's, so it meant that that person,
not 1%,
that the person could be placed at the scene while she was being killed, right? It's not like it was like old blood or a la mejor, yeah. And
why'd you say it like that? Old blood.
All they had to do just was find that person that blood belonged to. And there was one person's DNA that investigators were just dying to, match up against it, which was Lorenzo's. So Lorenzo's DNA and Mike's were both tested against the DNA sample found at the crime scene. And unfortunately, neither were a match.
Fuck, I knew it.
So they were like, okay, if it wasn't Lorenzo, who the fuck was it? Who would kill her like that? Like that was, no words. The investigation was pretty much back to square one. They were exhausting every avenue. They even forwarded the DNA sample to the FBI to see if they could match it to anything on a database, but nothing came from it. They also sent them the recording, the Sara, and they have it, they examined it, they enhanced it. And after that, those results came back. It was clear that Sara did not say the name Mike on that recording. I don't know if it was just something they wanted to hear.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, the investigation was at the 7-month mark, and it was the summer of 1999 now, and the case was beginning to go cold. But just before all hope was lost, detectives received a call from a neighboring jurisdiction, Baltimore County Homicide. On the other line was Detective Phil Morrill, I think that's how you say his last name, informing them that an inmate at the Baltimore Detention County Center talked about murdering a woman on a recorded conversation.
The fuck?
Edison George was an inmate informant, and he let Detective Morrill know that another inmate had confessed to committing a murder.
So Edison is in jail.
Yes, he's an informant.
And he is informing detectives, hey, there's somebody in jail here with me, and they're saying that they killed somebody.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they worked together so Edison could initiate another conversation with that inmate, and they were going to record it, Now, in this recording, the inmate described how he made his way inside a home de una señora, and then he described the wounds and stated, quote, I don't know if I probably did not write this properly. I nearly to her head off, end quote, or something along those lines. So Detective Morrill, was talking to the detectives over here in Maryland, and they're like, hey, do you guys have
a case? Yeah.
And then, of course, said yes, that they had a case matching those details. So now it's fine, like, I think the Detective Reddick is the name of the detective that was on Sara's case. Now, Detective Reddick told him, yes, that they had a case matching those details. So finally, they felt like they had a promising break in the case after fucking 7 months, So Howard County detectives got a copy of the inmate recorded conversation where 19-year-old.
19.
I forgot to mention, Sara was 35 at the time of her murder.
She was a baby.
19-year-old Ardell Tickles.
Not Ardell Tickles. Estela. Not motherfucking Ardell Tickles.
Was talking freely about a murder he had committed to an informant.
I'm not taking that as a person that is real.
Now, Ardell had been incarcerated.
First of all, Ardell Tickles. Don't forget.
Yeah. Now, Ardell had been incarcerated for an armed robbery that he had committed 3 months before and was awaiting trial.
Not Tickles.
He had robbed.
No,
wait, but I mean, he had robbed a McDonald's and he ended up shooting the manager in the middle of the robbery.
What the fuck?
So, again, in this recording with Ardell and Edison, he says, quote, "The woman, the one that I killed, she was studying. So I jumped through her window and she said, 'No, don't kill me. Please don't.' I started stabbing her in her belly, cut her wrist, blood was everywhere," end quote. That's what he was, the things that he was describing. And only investigators knew that,
Who else knew that?
Who else knew that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he kept on yabbing on, like Ardell Tickles no se callaba la boca. And then he went on to say that he had been hired to do it by a coworker of his.
Tickles was hired by a coworker
Of his.
Okay.
Yes. Now,
And where does Tickles work?
Exactly. The next step was to look into his background and his employment history to find out how he was connected to Sara or how anyone in her life might have been connected to him, right? Also, something that they learned was that Ardell, which I think was kind of weird because, Ardell did not have a criminal record, like prior to the armed robbery, but he might have just committed crimes that have gotten lucky and got caught.
not really weird. Maybe he just needed money at that moment.
But then he killed Sara.
But then he killed Sara. Like he escalated.
Yeah.
But he shot the man at
the robbery,
McDonald's.
yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he just wasn't afraid of.
Lo cacharon allá, pero
eso, pues,
nomás no lo habían cachado con Sara. But that is, he
why
probably
was
committed
okay, but why was he in jail now?
because of the robbery at McDonald's.
So the murder was first.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And
See, I
then
was confused. Okay.
The murder was first. Lo cacharon. So it doesn't really, I guess it doesn't really mean anything that he didn't have a prior criminal record.
No, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, because he probably just never got caught for other
Maybe
shit.
he just needed money, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna pay you this amount of money if you killed this person. Then okay, let's do it."
After looking into his employment history and going back a year, they learned that Ardell had been employed at a nursing home in Baltimore where he did the laundry.
Holy shit! Not the nursing home.
And I'm not sure if you remember from the top of the case,
motherfucking shit.
who else worked at the nursing home.
Wow.
Do you want to say it?
Yes. Her mother-in-law worked at the nursing home.
Emilia Raras.
Are you kidding me?
Now, having a link between Sara and Ardell and it being a Raras family member, investigators place the Raras home under surveillance 24/7.
Yeah, bring her little bitty ass in, because I'm sure she's little. I'm sure.
And also focus on learning all that they can about Ardell and Emilia's relationship.
Ardell Tickle, bro.
Ardell Tickles. Through work records, they were able to match up their work schedules and matching work hours between the two.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So now they are placed at work at the same time. Also, a few previous co-workers stated that they remember seeing them talk. But they, obviously, that doesn't mean anything. You can't build a case on that, right?
Once again, we go back to the same thing. People can talk at work. That's okay.
Yes. They needed a little bit something more concrete, right? So investigators spoke to Ardell Tickles, hoping that he could provide them with more information. So they played him the recording.
They were like, "Hey, we got you, bitch.
We got you, bitch. We got you on camera." Como dice Brenda.
Got you on camera.
Got you on camera. But it was a voice recording where he, obviously goes into the details about Sara's murder.
Not the murder.
After it finished playing, they told him that, we have you for this murder.
Let's do it.
And
you better speak it up, bro.
I mean, like, we don't need your confession technically since, we have you. He was also informed that he was facing a first-degree murder charge. So they also be like, "Hey, who hired you?"
Just tell us.
Yeah. Le enseñaron una foto de Emilia, and then...
Oh, they went that far.
Yeah.
They were like, let's go straight al grano.
Ahí.
Al grano.
And they're like, "Was it her?" And he said yes.
My God.
In the recounting of events to investigators, Ardell Tickles stated that Emilia told him that she was tormented and couldn't go on with life until Sara was dead.
What the fuck?
So to do her a favor and kill Sara, and that she was going to pay him. And after he committed, and according to him, Ardell Tickles, after he committed the murder, like he didn't call her and let her know, like they just kind of worked it out at work. As on that she paid him. And some places would say $2,500 and other places would say $3,000. So I guess you could just between there. I guess
it doesn't matter.
I know
it's not enough. That's not even going to pay your bills, bro.
In 1998,
$3,000. It wasn't going to make, but it did make sense to where he didn't take the purse because he already thought I'm getting money anyway. But he took a VCR, because.
Pero a lo mejor también he was in a rush. Like he didn't even think. Oh wait, hold on. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. Like earlier in the case with Becky and Lorenzo, investigators wanted to have Ardell's Tickles speak to Emilia on a recorded line and bring up the murder. But he refused. He's like, I'm not going to do that.
Hasta eso.
Was he lying?
Well, yeah. Why did he refuse?
I don't know. But he said no. He said negative.
Well, maybe como que he was probably embarrassed that he had
been caught,
or that he talked about it.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like, oh, hey, girl, how are you? Like, it's been all this time. It made no sense. I understand why Mr. Tickles decided to decline. I understand him.
Since Ardell Tickles was going to be of no help.
Mm-hmm. Nothing at all.
And since they really wanted Emilia to go down for Sarah's murder, investigators knew that they had to find, obviously, concrete evidence against her or something to hold her. So they followed the money trail.
Yeah, because they need to find out cuánto dinero sacó.
Emilia's bank records were pulled, which showed that she wrote a check out to cash in the amount that Ardell said that he got paid.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ardell's bank records showed that he made several cash deposits into his account over the next few weeks, también after the murder.
Mm-hmm.
So Emilia Raras, whatever, was arrested on August 24th, 1999, while she was babysitting her grandson. Yeah, I know.
So I was going to ask too, ¿dónde estaba el niño?
Yeah.
Y para esto, ¿cuántos años tendría? Como unos...
He was 16 months at the time of, so he was probably a little bit over 2 years.
Pero bueno, lo bueno es que at that age no se acuerdan.
Yeah, but that's sad que no se acuerda that how good of a mom he had.
Yeah, it's sad, pero no se acuerdan.
When they arrived at the station, she obviously, was placed in an interview room. Detective placed a photo of Ardell Tickles on the table, and told Emilia that they knew that he had killed Sarah and that she had hired him.
Dude, if there's something the most satisfying that I've ever seen is when they put like the paper or like something and then they slide it.
Yeah.
That's like the shit. Like I wanna be like, hey, do you think I could just slide paperwork for you?
I'll just stand on the side and slide it.
And then I'll leave. Like that's all I want to do.
They also added that she was going to be charged with conspiracy and solicitation to commit murder. Mm-hmm. And then Emilia was like, oh, I need an attorney.
Okay.
So as she was in the process of being processed, Emilia told one of the detectives, Detective Jones, that she wanted to speak to him to, quote, clarify something regarding the charges.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got to remember también, there was kind of like a language barrier. Como que she spoke English, pero...
Se está haciendo pendeja, güey. Porque ¿cómo si se puede hablar con Tickles?
Espérame. But she had already asked for a lawyer. And then she wanted to clarify some charges. So Jones told her that because she had invoked her right to counsel, that he couldn't talk to her. Pero Emilia no paraba de chingar. She was like, no. I need to talk to you and continue to ask to clear things up. So Jones finally agreed to talk to her, but obviously not before recounting that she had already asked for a lawyer.
No, they had to put this
it was an audio. Yeah, they had to be like, hey, you already asked for your counsel, but you're still asking to speak to me. And she was like, mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a transcript of, that conversation and everything. And they give her like a copy of it and everything.
Signed and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she signed, multiple papers and stuff like that. And then after all of that, Emilia noted that she believed that the charges were, quote, too strong and wanted to clarify what actually had happened.
Too strong?
Yeah.
How do you too strong somebody? You killed a whole human.
While she spoke to investigators, she stated that she did know Ardell and acknowledged that she had hired him. She did know Ardell Tickles and she had acknowledged that she had hired him. But it was not to kill Sarah.
Oh, no.
It was to scare her.
Oh.
According to Emilia, she says she thought that Ardell was just going to, obviously scare her by stoning the house. Investigators were like, you paid him like $3,000 to stone a house?
You could have done that yourself, bitch.
And she said, yes, to stone the house and make her feel sorry as revenge for me.
What did she do to you?
Her reasoning was that in their mother and daughter-in-law relationship, Sara treated her with disrespect and didn't value Emilia's experience as an elder and maternal figure. According to Emilia, Sara disrespected her by not allowing her to help with the baby. Like Emilia would offer her advice, like breastfeeding advice and how to clean the baby, how to shower the baby, but Sara was not open to it.
And we go back to the same thing. It's a cultural thing.
She said that she didn't think Sara liked her style. And Emilia also stated that Sara would give her dirty looks and talk bad about her behind her back, according to her. In another instance, Emilia told Sara that she might be suffering from psychological problems, which I think I'm just assuming she meant like postpartum depression back in the day.
Definitely, yeah.
And believed that was causing her marital issues with her son.
What?
I mean, and Emilia said that Sara did not like that, that I told her that. I'm like, no.
You think so? You think so, young lady?
I wouldn't like that either, bitch.
You think?
They would argue, like, that they would, like, have arguments, and that during one in particular, Sara spat in her face. This is what Emilia is saying.
But
Remember?
the thing is, we need to remember, whenever you're in postpartum, and once again, we go back to the same thing. You do things and
if that was even the case,
if
we
that
don't know.
was even the case,
like, we don't know, because Sarah's not here to defend herself.
Exactly.
Or, you know.
But if that's the case, me being as a mom that has had postpartum depression before, I struggle with it, even though my daughter's 13 and my son's 9. But my deal is,
I'm still suffering.
But my deal is, anybody that you speak to that has postpartum depression will tell you, you do shit that you don't realize that you're doing. Mm-hmm. And maybe it could have possibly been that she might have been extra enraged, whatever. But at the same time,
we don't know.
We don't know that.
Yeah.
But we go back to the same thing. It's a cultural difference.
Pero también le dijo, hey, you're suffering postpartum depression. That's why you're getting divorced from my son.
No.
Bitch, what?
I'm getting divorced from your son because he's doing sa.
Yeah.
You know, it's not because of that, you know, whatever.
According to Emilia, Sara like spat in her face. She went to work, and then the next day she went to work, right? And then she was telling her coworkers what happened and asked what she should do about it. And one of them was Ardell Tickles. So she went on to state that the disrespect was so great that it was like a slap in the face, and that it was even more than death. Showing disrespect to a mother figure in her culture was a big no-no.
That's a big no-no. Mm-hmm.
So when she was asked if it was enough to have someone killed, she was like, maybe, because it killed me, she said. But maintained that Ardell was only supposed to stone the house.
For $3,000.
Yeah.
So he took it too far.
Yeah, and she said that she also stated that she paid him in 2 installments. Uno de like $300-400 y el otro de $2,000. So, and I know this is a question that we all want to, an answer to.
Do I?
Was Lorenzo involved?
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, okay.
I was already just mad at the mother-in-law.
According to Emilia, Lorenzo and Mike, none of them knew. Like nothing. Like she's like, no.
I think Mike knew. I think she told him. I think she told him something.
It, or maybe él sospechaba, pero
because
he didn't want to believe it.
Something happened because for him to react that way, and we go back to the same thing. He wasn't gonna bring down his mom,
right?
So
you're like you were saying, culture-wise, like you don't do that. But then in culture-wise, I'm sure that it's frowned upon to murder people.
I'm pretty sure.
Or have houses stoned. No, pero luego Emilia was saying, she's like, no, Lorenzo didn't have anything to do with it. He was like, he was still in love with Sara. He didn't want to kill her. He just wanted to abuse her, Like, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's my bad. Mm-hmm.
So she was arrested, and then charges were, pressed against her. Now, in the case of Ardell, they had his confession and also had his DNA, which after it was collected was matched. Mm-hmm. It was a match for the one found that was mixed with Sarah's blood at the crime scene.
You imagine how scared Sara was. You're sitting there just
for no fucking reason.
Well, because in her mind, you think that passed through her mind to be like, oh, I'm gonna be like, and I'm going to say this because, I know that sometimes, but I'm really passionate about this because of the fact that I've been through postpartum myself. So whenever my mom came to come and take care of me, and she would tell me certain things, like, I didn't want to hear it. I'm over here struggling with this baby that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
What's her mom's name? Sarah Bob, or what's her name?
Sara Doris.
Sarah Doris and
Archibald were in another state.
She was probably struggling with that. And then
If she was.
Allegedly.
We don't know.
And then if your mother-in-law comes and says, you need to be doing this and this and that.
I'm going to take over.
You're freaking out because you don't know if that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Or what are you supposed to be doing, you know?
Y luego te andas peleando con el husband.
Yeah, it was too much.
Oh, your husband's abusing you.
It was like that one, number one. And so my mom came in and she was just like saying these things to me. And then she got upset at me because I was like, Mom, like, give me a minute.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing myself, you know? And then, for example, another example, my mother-in-law came in one of the times. I think it was for my daughter or for my son. I don't remember. And I was going up and down the stairs and she was like, no, you cannot go up and down the stairs. You're gonna, you know, and I was like,
your back.
I'm like, what? Like, to me, it didn't make sense, but I was like, okay, let me sit the fuck down, you know? And so like, there's a lot of reasons why, but you imagine Sarah sitting there.
But I wonder también, like, is Sarah be like, oh shit, this is Lorenzo has something to do with it? Like, did she even suspect
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so.
Do you think, I wonder if she thought
she was scared of him.
Yeah.
She was scared of him.
No, but I wonder if when it was happening, like,
at that moment,
like she thought, oh, Lorenzo is
or maybe,
doing this.
or that because she was like, please don't kill me. So she knew that they were there to kill her.
Yeah.
Like they were there to kill her.
Like it wasn't to rob the place.
It wasn't to rob. She knew that he was coming at her with the knife. You know, because at the same time, we need to be realistic. He went over there and
then fuck shit up.
And then
made it seem that, you know, he was going to rob her.
The thing is, my whole point of this whole rant that I'm going through is the fact that in that moment, she didn't think that she was doing anything wrong.
She wasn't.
She wasn't.
If that did happen, though, we don't know.
We don't know. But at that moment, she's sitting there. She misses her son. She's by herself in her apartment. She's
her house.
She's having all of these things.
She was studying according
whatever.
to our Del Ticos.
And then next thing you know,
Le caíste pinche güey.
And she's like, please don't kill me. You imagine the thought?
Her son. She's like, my son.
He's 16 months. 16 months. Like my baby. You know? And that is so sad. Because this lady said that she had killed her. You're talking to me. You're not dead.
Yeah. The only one person's dead here. Yeah. Now...
Sorry about that rant, but it had to happen.
So, like, our Del Ticos and Emilia Raras were both charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy. And then Emilia had a third charge of solicitation, you know, because she's the one who asked him. Now, they were both going to go to trial.
I have a question.
Yes.
What do you think? Do you think that Lorenzo had nothing to do with it? Or do you think that, like, to be honest, or do you think that she was protecting him?
You know what? I don't know.
Because she could have been protecting him.
I can't say.
Yeah?
I honestly, I can't say yes or no. Because I don't know. Because there's certain things that maybe he knew, maybe after it happened.
I think for sure Mike and him knew after it happened.
Yeah, because of the fact that he had no emotion when, you know.
Yeah. So all of these things, like he wasn't surprised that, and then why didn't they go?
To the funeral.
That's
or at least
your baby's mom.
But I don't know, like you said, maybe, I don't know, people grieve differently. You know, like, quién sabe? I don't know.
Believe you on that. But I'm just saying, like, what do you think? Do you think that he had anything to...
Like, I don't even know, like, honestly, I don't even know if Emilia's telling the truth.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. What if Lorenzo said, Mom, this is going on. We need to get rid of her. There's this money. Can you help me? What if that?
$3,000.
I know, but what I'm saying, but back in 98,
yeah,
you know, it was
inflation.
But he's over there just doing laundry at a.
Like, how did she know to come up to him and ask him? You know?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me Google $3,000
in 1998
to now.
But I mean, still, it was a lot of money for someone that's working, probably making like 2 cents an hour.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest.
Also, I guess we're just gonna round up to $3,000 instead of $2,500. But $3,000 in 1998 is $5,700 today.
That's a lot of money.
But it doesn't mean that's even an amount that you don't put a price on somebody's life. You know,
of course not.
But we're
talking about tickles right now.
Yeah,
we're talking about tickles.
You know
right
what?
now.
Every time I say tickles, I just remind Angelica Pickles.
Yeah.
Is that her last name?
Pickles, yeah.
Or who's Pickles, right? Is it Pickles?
Yeah, it's Pickles. Somebody's name is Pickles. But
Tommy Pickles.
But anyway, so I didn't.
It is Pickles, yeah. Duh.
I believe that that's the reason, because once again we go back to the whole cultural thing. It's like she probably was
they were like, a la mejor she was
How
like,
could you do that to your elder?
or even be like, we're not going to be able to raise him the way that we want to raise the baby because Sarah has her own way of doing things. But I don't know.
And it's a boy.
It's a boy.
It's the first boy of, and that makes a big deal. It's her first son.
Mm-hmm. The firstborn
The
son.
firstborn son. Hey, he's the first one. How are you going to take care of him? This, that. So, le vamos a dejar los terrenos, you know, all of that. So.
But in 2000, Ardell was, like I just said, going to go to trial, but later changed his plea to guilty. And there was no trial and he was sentenced to life in prison.
Okay.
Now, Emilia pleaded not guilty, maintaining that she only paid Ardell to stone the house.
But that's not what he did. You paid him for one thing, but that's not what he did.
Right, but she's sticking to her story. That,
Okay.
Yeah, you know. And that would be her defense. That, yeah, she had hired Ardell Tickles, and...
No, you changed his name, bitch.
And that it was... I'm sorry, I didn't want to insult the Pickle family.
Sorry,
Regrets.
Mr. and Mrs. Pickle.
But again, that it was... She hired him, but solamente para que espantara a Sarah.
I wonder if they asked him y si él dijo que sí era nada más para espantarla. Or did he say, no, she told me to kill her? Oh, okay.
I wonder if that's why he didn't want to get her on their line.
I'm telling
So
you.
that's the thing. I'm like, so what was it then?
What was it?
I mean, but you can argue both sides, you know? Like, you could find things.
Because over here, he's telling the inmate, yeah, I killed her, whatever. And like in our all past cases, this has happened before. They do that so that they can feel like, hey, I'm showing my balls, you know? I'm big shit. I killed somebody. I'm not afraid. I'm 19. But at the same time, I mean, if she was just telling him just throw rocks at it.
Or just scare her.
I mean, you know.
I don't know. Or maybe it wasn't to stone the house. Maybe she just truly meant just scare her. But
he walked in with the knife, bro.
What
he
does
walked in
scare
with
her
the
mean,
knife.
you know? Like,
because if Sarah's sitting there saying, please don't kill me, she knew she was going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the prosecution argued otherwise, that Emilia hired Ardell to kill Sarah. Now, Ardell didn't testify against Emilia during her trial, but the recording of his confession was played for the jury, along with the recording of the last moments of Sarah's life. Also, her interview while she was being, when she was talking to the detectives, was played for también the jury. And in it, they were saying that you could hear like the anger in her voice when she was talking about Sarah. Like, le tenía coraje. So, and her trial lasted a little over a week, and the jury deliberated for what at the time was described as, quote, among the longest in memory, end quote. Now, Emilia was found guilty of all charges, and she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. I tried to find if she's still alive because she was 63 at the time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that was almost 30 years ago. Wow, that's crazy
Shut
to
up.
say. Wow.
Didn't we just talk about how old I feel already because my baby girl Mela's having a baby? Shut up.
1998 is almost 30 years ago.
Yeah. I have my nephew. I was going to say my nephew, but no, my nephew was born in 96. My brother was born in 96. Everybody was born even people that are older than 98. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's crazy. Now, and it was like, look, when I don't know if she's alive. I tried to find it, but I couldn't. But when I was like researching the case, like I found Lorenzo's obituary.
Oh, Lorenzo died.
Yeah, he passed away last year in February 8th of 2023.
What? Well, he was young, no?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume he was 33. Sarah was a little bit older than him by 2 years.
So he was in his 60s, por decir?
Yeah, and I don't know what he passed away from. I couldn't find it, but he had been remarried. That's not funny.
That's not funny,
but yeah. He had gotten remarried, and I believe he had other children. But yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's...
Oh, well, he was able to move on with his life and have a life because,
yeah,
that's what they do, but whatever.
And that's the case of the murder of Sara Raras.
That is so fucking sad. That because she wasn't doing anything. She wasn't doing anything.
And even if she was, that doesn't warrant having murder.
Once again, we go back to the same thing.
Why?
It's never
going to solve anything.
Never going to solve
You're going to get caught.
Yeah.
And stop.
One thing, and not only that, but...
Como dicen los kids, touch grass?
¿Qué es eso?
Like touch grass. Like get with reality, you know? I think that's what it means. I don't know.
Oh.
They're like, get it together. Like, go touch some grass,
I'm
but
gonna go ask my
ground
kids.
yourself, you know? Like,
I don't know what that
ground
means.
yourself, come back to reality.
That's deep.
Touch grass,
Touch grass.
you know, please. Like, it's, ponte a little libro, go for a little walk.
Breathe. If you need money that bad, babe, sell your plasma.
Yeah, like, do you...
Do something different with yourself.
Like, if
but
you're-
leave people alone.
Are you constipated?
Maybe
like,
you
I
need
don't
a shit.
Maybe
There's
you know,
fiber gummies. I've
yeah.
tried them. They work. You know,
it's okay.
whatever.
Like, it's never that deep. Don't be killing people.
No.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's pobrecita Sarah. I
R.I.P.
hopefully R.I.P. wherever she is.
Not only
And-
that, but an
and I hope that her
amazing-
son
Yeah.
remembers her mom for the
Yes.
great woman and mom that I'm sure she was.
and such an intelligent, bright,
Woman.
literally bright
Woman.
and
a bad bitch.
a bad bitch.
She was
100%.
she was on bad bitch
Yeah.
status.
Yeah. So if you would like to let us know how we did, you can send us a message on our Instagram, or you can please also follow us at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. And if you would like to download our episodes, share our podcasts, rate us, leave us a review. We really, really appreciate it.
Let us
and I think
know.
we should be kind of getting better.
No,
at
we're
this.
getting better. Like I
Yeah.
said, I kind of fell off a little bit because
both did, I think.
I think we've been going through a lot, but you know, God is good and He's been kind of helping us get through everything that we're going through, and also prescription medication. But you know what? We're going to be getting a little bit better. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.